My name is Mike Pfaff, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. Now, on the board, we have our discussion from our last video. So this will be a little review. And again, here you can, this is what we talked about. What happens to the moon when you're not looking at it? And in that discussion, lo and behold, we found out that the moon disappears. There is no moon when you're not looking at it. Because when you look at it, you look at its energy and you convert its energy through your senses into data. You take the data and manipulate it. Now this here represents, in the egoic world, the limbic system, which does all this kind of stuff, but we don't know how. And out of that comes your rendering of your moon. Your moon. And then you project it onto the infinite energy system, or space, or wherever that energy is. And that energy looks like your moon. If you're not rendering your moon, it's just energy. Because all that is out here in space and time is energy. So when you're not looking at the moon, it's just energy. When you're looking at the moon in that space where the energy is, you construct, you render your moon. Now I'm using the word render, and in today's video, in the description, will be a definition of what rendering is if you're not familiar with it. So in a moment, just like your moon, it's going to disappear. We are back and things have changed. Our board has disappeared. And this video, we're going to have a presentation around the standard model for the illusion. Now there's a lot in the description that will go through the slides in the presentation. So if everything works right, the presentation should show up here. We will see. The first slide. Now, when I show a slide, not slides, pictures or other things, I have to make sure there's no copyright infringement. So this is the closest I've come to looking at the infinite exterior energy system. The infinite energy system. And it should look chaotic, and hopefully it will. And this is our first slide to help you recognize we are in an illusion and we are embedded in the infinite energy system. And that's just a description of what it should be. Now, before we get too far, the tea that we're having today is called hot cinnamon. And here in Michigan, it's just before the new year, and it's a little cool, so hot cinnamon tea hits the spot. Now, the next slide, slide 2. Again showing the infinite exterior energy system. Chaotic. you'll look in the background, if you look real close, you'll see that the first slide is still superimposed because we're embedded in this system. In this system now, you're looking at the infinite energy system with your senses. Your senses are picking up information about this system. Now there are fixed patterns, there are moving patterns, there's all kinds of information in here, and your senses are picking them up. And you'll notice 5 senses. And each of the senses have a different color, and that's to remind you that each sense is picking up different information. Most of it, visual. That's the way we're put together. But it's not all of it. So, in the next slide, we're still looking at the senses, but what the senses are doing. For instance, none of your senses do what you think they do from in the egoic world belief system. Your eyes don't see objects, period. And a lot of you say, oh, I see stuff. You don't see nothing with your eyes. Your eyes are not designed for you to see. All your senses are designed to transmit information. Now the eyes transmit the human eye transmit light waves of energy between around 380 to 700 nanometers of light waves. No objects. Your eyes do not see objects. Period. If you believe they do, you're deep in the illusion. Hearing. The human ear, the auditory system, is most sensitive to frequencies, vibrational frequencies, against the eardrum from 500 to 4,000 hertz, cycles per second. And when you get up, now we're talking about intensity, decibels. When you get up to 130 decibels, pressure on the ear starts to hurt. And that's kind of what we say the limit is. We don't want to be hurt. Touch. The human fingertip. You might not have thought about that. The human fingertip is capable of detecting vibrations as small as 10 nanometers in amplitude, which is roughly the size of an atom. They're not picking up objects. They're picking up information. Very hard to understand because we're so programmed to think that our senses are telling us things. Our senses tell us nothing. Nothing. Now, your smell. There are molecules of smell that go into your nose, and then they are again converted to electromagnetic and chemical signals in your olfactory system. And those molecules can be 20 to 80 atoms in a group. 20 to 80 atoms. But again, You're not smelling with your nose. You're picking up information. Very difficult to understand. And I keep saying very difficult because you will still, after this whole presentation, you'll say, oh, well, my eyes tell me, my nose smells stuff. None of it. Your ears don't hear things. They just transmit information. That's the illusion. You believe that they're telling you things. Taste. When you chew something, you release chemistry into the mouth. The chemistry falls into the taste buds. The taste buds convert that energy into electromagnetic and chemical signals. And then nothing goes into the taste bud, just information. And let's see, what else is that? Oh, that's what's going on in your taste bud. It's a chemical reaction. So that's what your senses are doing. They're not telling you anything at this point. At this point, they never tell you anything. But you believe they do. They can't tell you anything. Because the information that they're transmitting is just raw data. It's raw, unfiltered data. Meaningless at this point. Now we need to go on to what makes that information meaningful. And the information is made meaningful as it is filtered through your subconscious mind, your belief system, your life experiences, what you know to be true for you. Now this is a standard model for the illusion. So this part is, we've talked about each one of these before. So at this point, the subconscious mind is filtering all that information. By the way, in case you forgot, the subconscious mind operates, processes information at about 400 billion bits of data per second. Your senses transmit altogether, most of it visual, 11 million. So you got 11 million coming to the subconscious mind who processes that at 400 billion bits of data per second. So it is well up to the task of looking at that information and comparing it to what you know, which is your belief system and your memories and your life experiences, your moral values, and all kinds of things that you have set up. So there it goes. It's going in, and out of that it's decoded, because you're not picking up everything. If you're not familiar with the data, it means nothing to you, you throw it out. You can't use it. You can't use it. So you're not using all of the information that is coming to you from the infinite outside energy system. So there we are. Now we have filtered and it's manipulated information. What comes out of that? Information that is meaningful, that is relative to you. Maybe not to me, maybe not to your significant other, but it is meaningful to you because of your belief system. Nobody has a belief system like you. Nobody has life experiences like you. So that meaningful data is going to be uniquely yours. Let's see what we do with it. We create with it. we create. You create from that meaningful data the world that you have. That's all you know. And that's called a rendering. So you render your world through this process. The eyes aren't telling you anything. The tongue doesn't tell you anything. None of your senses tell you anything. It just transmits information. Now, what tells you things? The interpretation of the meaningful data in your mind. The interpretation of the meaningful data in your mind. Now, I told you how fast the subconscious mind operates, how fast the senses transmit information. How fast do you think the conscious mind, which is what you are aware of, how fast is it transmitting information? Maximum. This has been tested a lot. Maximum 100 bits of data per second. Now think about that. The system in the background operating at millions to billions of bits of data per second, and your conscious mind 100 bits per second, max. Which one do you believe? The one you're aware of, your conscious mind. So what does the conscious mind do with this information? It does a process that we have talked about before. It takes the information of the rendered world and it projects it onto the outside energy system. It's a projection onto the outside energy system. What is a projection? An illusion. It's not true. And it's not in the outside energy system. It is a creation inside the mind that you make. And then your conscious mind says, oh, there's the world. And through your belief system in the egoic world, you say, well, there's got to be there is an outside objective world. So we will project that onto the infinite energy system, and you will believe there's an objective world. You will absolutely believe there is an objective world. Now, I'm going to tell you, there is no objective world. It is an illusion. And the only thing that can come out of illusions are illusionary. The only thing that can come out of illusions are illusions. Oh, what does the Course in Miracles have to say about this? Now, here's the wisdom of the Course. The world asks but one question. It is this: of these illusions out here, which of them is true? Of these illusions that are out here, which of them is true? What do you think? The answer should come to you in a flash. None of them. None of them are true. They're all illusions. And one illusion or another, you can't have one illusion that is more illusional than another illusion. They're illusions. There's no weight to them. They're illusions. One is just as illusionary as the other. Oh, but won't we believe? Well, some illusions are more real than other ones, and we'll try to code them. You're wasting your time. It's all illusionary. And oh my goodness, don't we have fun playing in this illusionary world? Don't we have fun? Now, this is the standard model for the illusion. This is how you believe you are creating, or how the outside world, the objective world, comes into being. There's no outside world. There's no objective world. You're creating the whole thing, and you don't know it. But think about that. If you knew you were creating the whole thing, you could change it. You could change it. But if you believe it's outside and there's nothing I can do about it, it's just there, and I'm trying to survive, can't change. You're a victim. You're a victim. And that's not your purpose, to be a victim. Your purpose is to be the master of your world. And when you begin to recognize you're the creator and you can change it. Now, we should practice a little bit, not on big things, but on changing small things. Because it's too problematic to try to change big things. But you can change small things. And maybe we'll talk about that later. But for now, look at the standard model for the illusion. Recognize you are creating your world on the inside. What you think is outside is a reflection of what you're doing inside. Always. And to blame the outside is just wasting time, because it has nothing to do with the outside and everything to do with what you're doing inside. So to change your world, you have to change your filter system. The data is just coming from the outside through the senses. It's not going to change. It's looking at the data. It is a filtering system. And what's the filtering system? Your beliefs. How do you do that? How do you change your beliefs? You heal the past. You let go of negative beliefs. You forgive yourself. You forgive others. And you recognize you're the master of your world. And you can change it whenever you want. This is much to think about. And so as you think about it, be good to yourself. And we will look forward to seeing you next time we get together here in the illusion. Bye now.
na mai I nā leo na manu A ke kani o ke ia lullaby Pepe sky E nā noa I ke kai o kana loa